Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pale Beyond. I'm DisturbingPuppet, so we are continuing our adventure here aboard... what is the name of our ship now? I'm blanking on it. I know we're looking for the Viscount. What was the name of this one? Now I can't remember. I'm a great first mate. Alright, so we're supposed to be grabbing some people to have them come meet the captain and potentially meet some other crew members. So we're going to leave the captain's quarters. So, forecastle, and then up here, join the figure balancing on the mast. Interesting. Can't look out the crow's nest. Who is that? Like, that seems potentially dangerous. I don't know if I want to join them. I might yell up and like, hey, who are you? What are you doing? Kind of thing. Might be the people I'm looking for, because it is yellow. Upon closer inspection, you make out the ship's photographer, Kasha Belford, balanced on the ship's mast with her camera, lining up a photo. Yeah, wait for her to finish. Snapping a shot, she clambers down, only noticing you on the landing. Oh, Officer Shaw. It's about time I met the first officer of the ship. Kasha Belford. Nice to meet you, Kasha. I suppose there was some sort of rule against what I was doing up there. Deepest apologies, but sometimes as a shot you just cannot pass up. An accomplished photographer, Kasha Belford won the Fetler Prize, the highest honor in journalism, for her work covering plague outbreaks and riots in the capital. It came as a surprise to many that such a reputable journalist would take such an interest in this expedition. There was scarcely any chance of Hunt or the benefactor turning her away. You expected someone of her accolades to be older, more experienced. This is likely her first time on the sea like this. Yeah, her accomplishments surely outweigh her youth. Inexperience is a matter of interest, but her accolades speak for themselves. The cold game. Picture that as a header. What? For the piece on this voyage, I'm trying to come up with a snappy name. Nobody will read it if the title sounds like the work of an amateur. I'm not the creative type. I'm sure you'd know better. Kasha tilts her head and grits her teeth, holding an inner debate with herself. Maybe not. How about Hunt's Incredible Voyage? Too fantastical. I suppose I'll find the right name when the time comes. Just try to work Hunt into it and be, something entertaining, catchy. Getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Apologize. I'm just a little excited. I've never been on a voyage like this. I suppose in your experience the open ocean is the home of the mundane. Though I suppose you never traveled this far south on the merchant lines. You know who I am? That much about me? It's not necessarily who I am, but information about me. Of course. I thoroughly researched the crew of the Temperance. Oh, Temperance, right. May seem somewhat excessive, but I feel it's necessary for a proper chronicling. That and plenty of pictures. Don't worry, Shaw. You don't have a reputation that sets you apart from the rest. A celebrity like Kurt Darling's presence will dwarf any rumors that could form around you. Who's Kurt Darling? That reminds me, he'll be joining us at next port. I should get his picture at some point. Kasha holds up her camera with a sense of pride before holding it up to her face. Stand still, Shaw. How long did they take to develop? Only a day or two. I've made a makeshift darkroom in the hold. Speaking of photographs, she hands you an annotated document. Here it is, the crew manifest. Okay, so we can see who we know. Killian Smurf Sanders. We have Timmy the Runt Ward. Oh, we can get some information. So Sailor, Stowaway, Saltborn, Sailor, Ice Savvy. Amelia Corvid, Sailor, Ice Savvy. Joseph Joe Green, Sailor, Ice Savvy. What about, that should be all the crew. I guess this is just the sailors, though. Scouts, engineers, scientists. But I've met the botanist guy. That's odd. Specialists? Maybe he's a specialist. Rufus Hunt. Captain, Ice Savvy, Muttwash. What the heck is Muttwash? Okay, it did something there. Okay, so yeah, he does count as a specialist then. And that's interesting. The face is gone for my picture. Resource cards, key items, camera, and accordion. Alright. It's a work in progress. The scout team are to join us at the next port, and the captain's forbidden me from the boiler room. If you could ask the others to get their portraits taken, I'd be very grateful. Don't want to leave anyone out. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll not disturb you or your work. Yeah. Disturb you of your work any further, or is it disturb you or your work any further? I'm not sure. I have a few more shots I want to get before the sun lowers anyhow. Safe shots, officer. Don't worry. You leave her to her work. Something's going on here. 2 Johns. I should probably prioritize doing what the captain wanted. It's still minus 10 degrees. I don't know if this is actually right. I feel like it can't be that cold. Well, okay, it could be. But it definitely wasn't that cold in, like, London. Let's go below deck. Okay. So that's everything. Nothing here. Mid-deck. Yeah, that's where we said they'd be. Okay. So you must be the cook and just one of the sailors. Approach the accordionist. One of the crew, a red-headed man with a thick beard, sits proud, playing on an ivory accordion. He spots you and ceases his playing. Need something? I was just looking for the Stoke brothers. Emergency? Just a meeting with Hunt. You're speaking to one of them. Grimly Stoke. We'll head up after dinner. You can go now. That's, not really appropriate way for him to be talking to me, like, you can go now. The man gestures to the cook across the room before resuming his playing. Call the crew for dinner? Nope. We're gonna look around a bit more, I think. Yeah, let's see what's going on here with 2 Johns. There's also the forecastle, or forecastle. Let's take a look in there real quick. Forecastle door appears to be locked, so I think that's where the lady with the dogs is holed up. You can hear the kennel master preparing the room inside. Okay. Alright, let's see what's going on with 2 Johns. You spot a large man with a youthful gait, carrying a heavy crate over his shoulder with relative ease. Oh, you're Officer Shaw. He gives a bright, warming smile. 2 Johns. That's what they call me. I'm sure you'll get your nickname later. 2 Johns attempts to offer a handshake, but loses control of the crate. He struggles before firmly holding it in place with both hands. Maybe later. Work awaits. Okay. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if we'll have to assign people to certain jobs or just general duties. So yeah, we've got 2 Johns, Sailor, Saltborn. What about, Grimly? There we go. Okay, so he's actually a carpenter. So yeah, not necessarily just a regular sailor. So he's kind of important on board ship, be in charge of any repairs, building stuff, that kind of thing. Alright. Head back down. There's nothing here to look at. Alright, I guess we will call everyone for dinner. The crew have their meal, and now it's time for resources to disappear. It passes in relative silence. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Twilight falls. Well, something's going on here. We can take a quick look at the dinner table. Over dinner, you overhear the newly picked up stowaway speaking with a one-armed man. Oh, the dad has one arm. Okay. But You're lucky Hunt didn't throw you overboard. Give him the most generic Irish accent possible. Half a mind to do that myself. Come on, Da. I'm here to help. Better know that involves work. Don't expect special treatment. I won't. You're an impossible child, Timmy. Okay, so we have Doug Ward now on there. There's nobody else here. We'll move on up. Anybody hanging out? Yeah, we got people hanging out. There's also my cabin. Hoping that doesn't trigger anything, but yeah, let's talk to everybody. You spot one of Templeton's science team pacing around the mid-deck, searching through some luggage that has been pulled from a cabin. Let me look in the light. Where was it now? He notices you. Ah, Officer Shaw, correct? Dwight Glossley. Apologies, I seem to have misplaced something while settling in the cabin. A bottle of wine, actually. I don't want to put in his mind the idea one of the sailors took it, but one of the sailors probably took it. Can't be hard to miss, it'll turn up eventually. I would hope so. My wife and I brought a bottle to celebrate with. To be saved for the journey back, of course. Well, if you find it, please let me know. Huh. Yeah, I feel like somebody already grabbed it. Since I'm here, let's take a look in my cabin real quick. Oh, it's nice and cozy. Look at that. Open your journal. No, we're not doing that yet. Although, I wonder if that's how we save. Is that how we save? It might be how we save. Okay, I didn't see any indication that the game saved there. I'm hoping it just kind of auto-saves. Like after we've done each thing. The ocean. Captain's cabin. And Templeton's hanging out over here. We'll talk to Templeton. You spot Templeton looking into the sunset. As you approach, he turns to you and nods. Ah, Officer Shaw. It'll be some time before we see a sunset such as this again. The light distribution towards the southern pole is quite the change. I noticed you weren't at dinner with the others. I prefer to eat in solitude. I have my own cabin, and I make use of it. Templeton keeps his focus on the reflection of the setting sun over the stirring waves of the ocean. There is great expectation upon us, officer. From who? Who is this benefactor of ours? That is not for you to know. Not yet. Templeton looks down, catching his reflection in the ocean's surface. He looks back up at the sunset. Quite the sight, but I wouldn't linger upon it too long. We should retire for the evening. It's important the first officer be well rested. I don't want to. There's other stuff to check on. It's not letting me, so apparently we have to hold E to advance to the next week. I think I'd be able to just click. Yeah, we can do that instead. That's fine. Food rations. Rations per crew member this week. Fuel rations. Normal. If we drop to half, what's the problem? I mean, I guess we can do normal. There's no reason to really have a big issue. It seems like a lot. Like, that's half our supply. When it was supposed to be, like, enough fuel to get there and back. Like, that's definitely not enough fuel to get there and back. That's definitely not enough food to get there and back. Yeah, we'll stick with normal for now. The ship makes its last port at Orca Island. Cordell's sledding dogs are picked up. The scouting crew and Kurt Darling are picked up. The days are getting brighter as you move further south. So it seems like we only have enough like food and fuel for a couple weeks. That's kind of crazy. 2 weeks on the Temperance. Okay, saved game there. Max crew increased to 29. Right, we picked up more people, so we're into a bit of a problem. There's a wrap on your cabin door. Who goes there? The Door swings open to reveal Kurt Darling, all but filling its frame, grinning ear to ear. There you are, Officer Shaw. The ship's navigator is a difficult man to miss. Stature and reputation precede him. Adorned with a slew of apparatus, the seemingly one-man expedition would be known to anyone following the heyday of exploration and the merchandising that followed. I know little of the man. His reputation is indeed great, but the man behind the legend is but a stranger. Hiding away from the rest of us, are you? Are you always this early to rise? These days I tend to enjoy a good lie-in, but not during an expedition. You know what they say of early birds and worms? Apologies for not stopping by sooner, Shaw. It took a while to set up my team, and a great deal of the crew were quite eager to meet me. Yeah, it's not often they work with a film star, is it? Certainly. It's completely understandable on their part. There aren't many who haven't seen my films, particularly in this line of work. More than one fellow on this crew said my work inspired them to explore the world. Quite the honor, is it not? I'm certain you receive that praise often. Not as often as you'd think. I suppose I did get distracted, didn't I? Anyway, I was hoping you'd join me up on deck. Of course, but why? We finally entered the pack. I thought you'd want to see it for yourself. I mean, there's no reason to be a dick, so I don't really understand some of the stuff, why you'd be a jerk about this kind of thing. I'll be right behind you, Kurt. Kurt turns to walk away before turning back. Oh, and enjoy your morning. It's a good day, Shaw. Alright, we've got Kurt Darling on the manifest. Yeah, we'll worry about the journal later. Head on out. We've got something going on. Doctor's office. Mrs. Gloss. Oh, so she did actually come with. You note one of the science team returning to their room. Ah, Mrs. Gloss. Did you have a good rest? She nods to you. Ah, hello. Did not expect many to be up this early. Harriet Glossley. I believe I've met your husband. Ah, yes. Dwight made mention of your encounter. He's still fast asleep. He's adjusted to the ship well. I believe to walk around the ship would help acclimate myself to the waves. Perhaps it will take some more time. With that, Mrs. Gloss makes her way back to the cabin. The science team aren't used to the sea or the sailor folk. Quite the culture clash, isn't it? Well, I'm sure they'll grow used to them over time. Alright. Do we check in on the doctor? I think we should. There's no reason not to. The door to the doctor's office remains locked. Seems a good doctor isn't in. Probably sleeping. Yeah, or perhaps enjoying his sleep. You are yet to come across the ship's doctor, even after all this time. That's odd and suspicious. What is he, a vampire? That'd be an interesting twist, wouldn't it? Alright, so he's up there, and then we have the helm. Yeah, well, I feel like this sometimes progresses story stuff, anything that's highlighted in yellow. So maybe we'll check out the helm first. At the stern, you notice an older sailor at the helm. The old man takes in a deep breath in the cold air before letting out a satisfied exhale. Morning. And a good morning to you. He eyes you up. Officer Shaw, right? Lefty. Call me that on account of, well, it should be obvious. He chuckles. Don't worry about the bad sight. This is all I feel. This is all feel. Just keeping her steady. He examines you. I actually knew a guy named Lefty when I was a kid. Worked with my dad. He had 2 eyes. And 2 arms. Surprise Hunt picked you from outside for his first mate. Would you prefer the role? You seem to have the experience. Definitely not. This old body can't take the pressure anymore. Besides, I've worked on other ships. Others have worked with Hunt for much longer. It must be something special for Hunt to look outside the ranks. Got the experience at least. Merchant Navy's quieter, though. Mornings like these are about the only peace I get from the younger lot. You should take these moments when you can. Lefty returns his attention to the helm. As you get older, I suppose you learn to value the quiet moments, huh? Let's hope we're just as diligent when we're old and gray. Myself before you, of course. It's Mr. Turner. You can even head down to the captain's cabin, but I feel like that's potentially not a great idea. Got, what's this, like pancake ice or something? Join Kurt at the bow. Join Kurt at the bow of the ship. Both feel the temperance break the flows below you. Well, that looks very different from what we're seeing on the other map. Gripping the railing, he draws an enormous breath. The footing beneath rises as the ship mounts an impending ice flow. There's a moment's hesitation before a profound crack relieves the ship, cascading across the ice. He exhales. See? Nothing else like it. Yeah, you weren't wrong. It's something alright. Look at the ice. The two cracks are the same. All caused by us. By the laws of nature. This place wants us dead. And yet, here we are. Traversing in harmony. How fantastic is that? I had assumed you'd seen everything. A younger me would have agreed with you. It's an interesting mix, nostalgia and the never-ending new. Indeed. How far are we from land? We're about a week's sail from the last known location of the old Viscount. Assuming she isn't exactly where they left her, we can't take smooth sailing for granted. Same goes for this daylight. It won't remain this bright for so long once winter encroaches. Beautiful as the ice is, on this course it's going to get thicker. It looks out across the white. We won't be so confident when the leads dry up and we're stuck here till the next cycle. We need to change course. Avoid the pack. You informed Captain Hunt. He won't listen to me. Thinks I've been dulled by retirement. I've probably seen more ice than he has whiskey. I mean, I don't feel like we have enough supplies based on how quick, like, we burned through all that stuff before. It's not my decision. Yes, but you have the captain's ear. Have you ever experienced the long night winter? It's not pleasant to say the least. Personally, I have, but I can't say that I have. We're only as good as the unhappiest man, Robin. I'll do what I can. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. Kurt nods and turns back to look across the ice. Okay, nobody... Yeah, we can't look up at the crow's nest or anything. That's too bad. If we zoom way out... Yeah, it's not even like ice sheets, really. It's what it's showing. But, like there, it was like giant icebergs and solid ice and stuff. Get to the captain's cabin. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I can do. It's still quite early in the morning. Let's take a look. I'm not sure if anything would have changed. It seems unlikely. Everybody's sleeping. Many of the crew were still fast asleep laying in hammocks. Sounds of snoring are rather obnoxious. Yeah, as nice as hammocks would be, a bunch of people sleeping in close proximity would just be insanely noisy. Alright, let's get to it. What kind of requests do we have? Ah, Shaw. Ready for another day of work? Yeah, let's go ahead and discuss... I mean, he is the navigator. It's the captain's decision, but the navigator should have some input. Did you hear Kurt's advice? He wants us to switch course. He had a few words to share. He may have been an expert in his time, but these days Kurt is one with more money than sense. Anyway, back to work. I was hoping you'd help me work through a few more requests from the crew. You may have noticed the line pulling up outside. Everyone wants something, it seems. Oh, they were all asleep when I checked. Call them in as you please. Okay. Yeah, have we met Hammond? I don't think we've met Hammond. Let's call Hammond in. So there should be a couple scouts. It's only the 3 scientists. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about the food situation here. A short, sour-faced man in engineer clothing approaches. Are you acting daft, Hunt? Not with intention. Not bloody surprised you didn't notice. Shaw, this is our chief engineer, Clive Hammond. An opinionated one. What is it, Hammond? We've hit the ice and you haven't assigned any extra men down on the boiler. You have your engineering team, and we've only got 6 arms between us. I need more manpower maintaining this. Sailors. Many of the crew have their own tasks they're busy with. I know I've already assigned Smurf on the matter. The captain turns to you. So Smurf has been assigned to do something. How many do you think is fair? 1? 3? More. Open the crew manifest to choose how many sailors you wish to assign. Well, so how do we do that? Does anyone have any traits? So you're deployed. Some choices require you to assign people from the manifest. In this choice, you may choose the amount to assign. It says 1 to 4, but there's only 3 slots here. Interesting. I mean, you've only got 1 arm. I was thinking sending our stowaway here. Can't assign anybody else. Like, I can't assign the scientists and stuff, I don't think. Specialists are all locked. I mean, it looks like maybe I could, actually. Specialists are all hung up. So mainly it is kind of from the sailors. Yeah, have the runt. She's outside with some kind of request, so I don't want to assign her. Lefty kind of likes the quiet. I'd assign this guy, but he's only got 1 arm. This guy's good at carrying and lugging stuff, so how about Joe? We'll just send 2. You can take Runt and Joe. You giving me the bloody stowaway? Would you rather none? The engineer holds his tongue. Fine. But you can tell me how right I was when we're buried under the ice. He leaves. Good spirit, that one, beneath the oil and the temper. You won't be seeing much of him, though. Prefers to burrow himself into the boiler room. Let's talk to Corvid, because she's actually on the manifest. So someone we could potentially assign. Corvid enters the office. Hunt, you asked for a report on how the stowaway was doing. I wanted to see if the young boy had been settling in well. He has indeed. It means another mouth to feed, but the boy works hard and doesn't ask much. He has his da to guide him as well. I'm sure the boy's father is ecstatic. Worried sick, but happy, aye. Well, what do you know, Shaw? Perhaps we were right to keep the boy aboard. She leaves. Okay, so he's working out well. He's actually doing work. Good. Captain, Shaw. A thought occurred to me the other day while looking through the crew manifest, and, well, it might be too late for this now that we've already entered the ice. Out with it. I thought it'd be good to have individual photos of the full crew. For your report? Not only my report, it'd be good reference for the manifest, put faces to the names. Much of this crew have served me for years, some decades. I have little problem putting faces to the names. Your thoughts, Shaw? I kind of agree with either the first or last one here. Like, it's generally a good idea, but I don't know that, like, being a souvenir. I think getting it over with. We'll be nicer about it. It seems a good idea. If nothing else, it would make for a good souvenir. Sentimental of this expedition, are you? Some proper photographs will have some historical weight to it. Well, Belford, I see no problem there. I'll arrange for the pictures to be taken before the crew have their dinner. Thank you, Captain. Jaw. In the meantime, I'll attempt to get as many individual crew photos as I can. You're still welcome to help on that matter, Officer Shaw. She departs satisfied. Good to have all that settled then. Perhaps we shouldn't rule out Kurt so easily. If the man thinks there could be an alternate route or path through the ice, he's free to search for it. Shaw, meet with him when you have time. Changing course or not, we'll want one of his scouts set up in the crow's nest. Take care of that, then you'll be done for the day. Speak to the navigator, yeah. Rigging. While examining the rigging of the ship, your eyes notice a figure darting by, climbing on the ropes with ease. The figure lands on their feet before dusting themselves off. Their outfit denotes one of Kurt's scouting crew. Acrobatic scout. Ah, no problems. She looks to you. And you are? Officer Shaw. Yourself? Flick. I'm one of Kurt's crew. Don't worry about my safety, I know what I'm doing, trust me. Kurt doesn't just hire anyone. Well, he didn't hire me for no reason. Got the medals in gymnastics if you're worrying about my credentials. Flick jumps up and returns to the scaling at the rigging of the ship. Okay, so she's added to the manifest, but she should also be, like, up there. Well, we've got somebody sick, it looks like. Let's check on that. Seasick. You spot a youthful-looking man leaning over the side of the ship, his head slumped as he looks into the icy pool below. It appears he's been visited by a spot of seasickness. Okay? You speak out, and the sickly man doesn't answer. He raises his head and turns to spot you, his eyes widening in shock as he does. A bespectacled young man shaking with unease. He stares at you for a brief moment, a look of shame plastered upon his face. Bespectacled lad. Sorry. Are you alright? Yes? Well, not really. I'm very sorry. The man turns around and hurriedly runs in the opposite direction, avoiding your gaze. Okay, that was kind of weird. Arthur Nutley. Is he one of the scientists, maybe? Nope. Specialist. Doctor. Oh, he's the doctor. Okay. Oh god, he's got one of those bone saw things in the picture. So, yeah. See that? The thing he's got there is even looped. So, if you want to cut off a limb really quick, you put something like that around the limb, and then you move it back and forth really fast while pulling on it, and it constricts and cuts at the same time. It's, yeah, one of those horrifying medical things from a long time ago, but better than anything else they would have had at the time. Yeah, speak to the navigator. Send me up there, I'll get you a reading. The scientist eyes the man's cane and turns to you. I believe the navigator means you to send one of his scouts. The navigator clears his throat and taps his cane. Of course, The If you find one of mine, they'll get us a reading rightly. I mean, I only know one of the scouts, so sure, flick. They ascend to the nest and take a reading with the sextant. All clear from up top. Oh, we have a map. Zoom. Okay. Orca Island. The last port you made where you picked up Kurt and the scouting team from. So this is probably where we're at. Viscount Island. The last known location of the Viscount, your destination. Interesting symbols there. Yeah, we've got definitely a bit of a problem. We kind of need to go around one way or the other, depending on where the current is moving these ice sheets and how fast. It's odd that I can't talk to him. Go back to the captain's cabin. But here... It's a conversation I can listen into. Sure, why not? Go over here, two of the newly arrived scouting crew talking. Quilzy. It's interesting they all have different kind of color-coordinated outfits. You have any trouble settling in? Not too bad. I can't wait for a chance to sleep, though. A proper navigator never rests until their work is done. Of course, of course. I take it you had no issue settling in? Not at all. The crew were a funny lot. Old Kurt certainly caught their attention. You think any of them would mistake Kurt and myself? I think you'd collapse from joy if they did. Yeah, perhaps. Okay, so a couple more scouting crew. Pumps and pantry. Okay. Hooded sailor. Spot a suspicious-looking sailor emerge from the pantry. The hooded sailor spots you, keeping their hands firmly in their pockets. Not what it looks like, Officer Shaw. Pleck, but call me Gnomes. I'm not thieving anything. I hadn't considered that, but now... You think I protest too much then? No worries, I was just setting up a practical joke. And what is this practical joke? Not going to spoil the surprise. It's not at your expense if that's your concern. Have to get some enjoyment around here, don't you think? With the mysterious trap set, Gnome scurries off to the upper deck to return to work. Okay, I'm gonna check the pantry. The moment you enter the pantry, a bag of flour drops on your head, scatting all over your officer's uniform. Kind of what I expected. The hell was that? Gnomes? You wipe the flour off you before continuing. Tinned food. Lift a crate of tins from the shelves. Crate of tins, not crate of, right? It didn't seem to do anything here, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's in the inventory now or something? Yeah, resource cards. Sealed sustenance prepared by the Apperton Tinning Company. So +3 for the furnace, or... Now we can burn it. Yeah, interesting. Or food. Yeah, we definitely want the food. Let's check on the pumps here. Nothing? Okay. It's odd that we can't go down... You'd think we'd be able to go down to the engineering section. Okay, I'm not going to call everybody to dinner yet. Go check. Okay, yeah, nothing here. Alright, yeah, that'll be it then. Approach the cook. Oh, you must be Shaw. Seems you've met my brother already. You're in Stoke, but nobody calls me that. On the ship, I'm just known as Junior. Junior, why the name? Should be obvious, you've met my brother. It's the burden that comes with being the younger. Ah, one step ahead of me. If you add those tins in the hoosh, we should be good for dinner. Crew need fed for the week. Feed the hoosh pot. Resource items may be spent here for instant effects, increasing food or changing the status of somebody. Yep, throw that on in. I don't know what hoosh is, but sure. Feed the hoosh pot. Yeah, I threw everything in there that I could, so yeah. So it did give me some extra food. Now I can go back in the pantry again. That's odd. Why is it yellow to go in the pantry? I guess maybe he would have otherwise given me, like, asked me to go in and get it. I don't think there's anything else to do but call the crew for dinner. The crew have their meal. Ah, shall we toast to the ice? Aye. The days get longer, but dinner is fixed. It will see us through the long days and the darkest nights. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Can't help but notice that it's still bright light outside. That would only be the case if it's summer. You notice two sailors passing by from the dinner table. An inebriated sailor on wobbling legs, leaning on the shoulder of another. How did he get inebriated? Ah, good times, good times. Need to learn to handle your drink, Tucker. Ah, but I'm fine. My mates can carry me, Cavity. They can also drop you. Have two Johns carry you next time. You asleep? Shit. Okay, a couple more people added. Just says door. That's kind of odd. Knock on the door. No response. I don't even know what that goes to. Okay, so for week 2, we just have the ship makes its last port at Orca Island. Cordell sledding dogs are picked up. Scatting crew and Kirk Darling are picked up. The days are getting brighter as you move further south. If it's winter, that doesn't make any sense. Buddy up top, yeah. Look at the map up there. You overhear two engineers chatting above deck. Or rather, you overhear one engineer speaking with another. Don't know how the chief could stay down there all evening. Never see Mr. Hammond eat? I haven't. Maybe he doesn't even eat. Man's not human if he can work all day and night on that boiler. Probably doesn't sleep either. He probably sleeps. I think it's figurative. Right. Okay, so that's some engineers. So we're still missing 4 sailors. Where are we? Is that all the sailors? Are these actually empty spots or not? I'm not sure. Because I know there's only the 3 scouts. So we're missing... Okay, so... What are all the rest of these? 1 specialist. And 1 sailor. That's it. So who are the rest of the crew here? I guess it could be people like... it's not dogs. They don't count as crew. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, I'm wondering if the math adds up to 29 or not. That's all. Hey, doggos! Alright, so there's Ingrid. I think she would have already been in there. The dogs regard her with rapt attention as she paces between them, bowl in hand. The largest joins her side as you approach. Try some. Try the soup. Nearly burn your mouth on the hot broth. Surprisingly palatable. You feel yourself warming up. You seem to enjoy it. I'm afraid there's only so much. If you want more, it'll be among the dog's leftovers. Penguin, some blubber, fats and proteins. Fastest way to hydrate them. Is there something you needed? Where did they come from? Like, I'm curious where the food came from. Where did they come from? It's hard to tell the exact breeds at this point. They belong here more than we do. Unlike us, they need the ice. Cools them through their paws as they run. They'd overheat otherwise. Strong creatures. Very. They'll handle stress differently, adapt quickly. There's plenty to be learned from them. Who's that beside you? This is Stanberry. Bark. That's how I'm going to read all the dogs barking for this one. Bark. Bark, bark. You've been on the ice for a long time. A long time, yes. You love these animals. They need me. And you'll need them. Pet Stanberry. You ruffle its head. It tries to lick the broth from your fingers. Alright. So I think we have done everything. I would think at a certain point it wouldn't necessarily advance if you've done everything necessarily, but if you've done everything necessary, there might be stuff that you can miss, I would assume. So like I'm not even 100% sure if we're changing course. I think that was kind of the idea. Okay, we'll go ahead and advance it, and then it should save, and then I probably will call it for today. So let's see. Okay, so we're automatically on half rations because we're running out. Oh no, we're on half fuel is what we're on. So that will cause a bit of a drop to decorum, but not too much. I really hope we can get hunting soon. Like this is, they said we had enough fuel to get there and back. Like we're not even getting there. What are you talking about? This is crazy. We're way too low. We're definitely not equipped for this expedition at all. Like this is not enough. But the week passes, the temperance has finally entered the thick ice leads. The days grow even brighter. Yeah, I mean, that only makes sense if it's summer. I mean, austral summer. But there wouldn't be this much ice, I would think, in austral summer. Week 3, 3 weeks on the temperance. +2 available crew. Yeah, game save. Yeah, I don't want to stop with like have to redo a bunch of stuff to get back to where we were. All right, so that's gonna do it for this session of The Pale Beyond. I've been Disturbing Puppet. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully, I'll see you all again next time. Until then, have a good one.